Shalom. Kol halal Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai Bahasham Rakaha Kwadash. Double honors unto the apostles, double honors unto the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. The would-be judges, the 144,000, the tabernacle of David, who are ordained to be the new government here on earth under the authority of who the world fraudulently and falsely called JC. His name is Yahushai. And he was coming to he's coming to save his people, personal pronoun, the Israelites that are scattered around the four corners of the earth. And to the rest of the scattered that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, and to the few Akwath, the sisters that are listening and learning, to you I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago. Do not get it twisted. The Hebrew Israelites primarily make up the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. But, all right, there is a but in there. But the Israelites are scattered among all people. So you can't classify people just according to their outward appearance. This is not a black-only thing. The Israelites are among all nations, including pale nations. All right, the Lord is coming back to get them, and only the elect of them. As the title of this video is, the carnally minded people will learn spirituality the hard way after death by pain. And that time is upon us. Jacob's trouble is upon us. World War III is upon us. All right, the micro C-hip, the charagma, the MOTB is upon us. We're moments away from all these things. Some of them are in play already. The infrastructure for the MOTB is already set up. All you need now is the act to enact it and make it mandatory, because the third woe, which is mentioned in the Bible, all right, in the book of Revelation. And by the way, AIPAC is are moving to try and remove the New Testament, make it illegal to read from it on college campuses. Wonder why? But guess what? The Old Testament reveals you just as, probably even worse than a couple of scriptures that reveal you in the New Testament. But anyway, they're looking to shut this thing down, and shutting it down is not going to stop the prophecies from happening. So I want to read the, matter of fact, let me read a scripture for these people who just don't want to believe in the scriptures. Let's do that first, and then I'm going to read the copyright statute before I play this clip from this movie Bushwick. And if you haven't seen it, I highly suggest that you watch this movie. And they, this movie advertised, and then when it came out in the state of Illinois, it only played in 2 theaters when it released. They did not want the public to see this movie. And so many things that are going on now. You know, there's a ICE type force in this movie that's attacking, you know, the city of Bushwick after, the split. So just like you see in the MAGA split, the Democratic Republican split, the states splitting, the states versus the federal government. That's what's happening in this movie. Okay, but this is Romans 3:1, and it reads, "What advantage then hath a Judean, or what profit is there of circumcision? Much in every way, chiefly because that unto them were committed the oracles of God." See, to the Israelites, the Hebrews, was committed the oracles of God, not all people. "For what if some did not believe?" You know, and that title came from a comment that I saw in another brother's video. I think it may have been the elder bro. It wasn't ICR. It was the other elder bro down in the Carolinas. Yeah, I think it was on his video. Manata Zakba. And someone said, "Oh, there's always been wars. There's been wars since the beginning of mankind." Yeah, well, you know, they don't match up with prophecies. What's happening in the last kingdom, in the fourth during the season of the fourth beast, and especially after the first and second woe has passed. So anyway, much in every way, chiefly because that unto them were committed the oracles of God. For what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of God without effect? God forbid. Yea, let God be true, but let every man a liar, as it is written, that thou mightest be justified in thy sayings and mightest overcome when thou art judged. We're giving you these prophecies, and truthfully, we really haven't missed. All right? Everything is happening pretty much just like it has been, just like it says in the scriptures. Okay? You know, you have people that like to bring up the 2000 thing, not understanding that the calendars was off about 25 to 30 years. So we're actually right on point, right on time. Okay? Because the millennium change happened right around this time. 2000, it was off. So it all makes sense. Okay? Gotta remember, they were operating on those 8-day calendars and 10-day calendars. They screwed up time, and that's in the scriptures, that they would think to change times and places. That's scriptural. So you don't believe, that's like I said, you're gonna learn the hard way. You're gonna learn spirituality when the Lord issues at you that death by pain. And you're gonna know when these things start happening, everyone's gonna know. The biggest atheists are gonna know that this is coming from who the world ignorantly and falsely calls God. Okay? They're going to know that Yahweh has done this. All right? As some of those African Hamite nations referred to him as Al-Shaddai, old demon-like power. He's going to reveal how great and terrible he really is. You know, the church folk, God's good all the time. You don't know. What Bible are you reading? All right? The God of the Bible is frightening. Okay? So let's go to this copyright disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976 allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use permitted by the copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing.
Where did everybody go?
What the hell is going on?
Oh, God.
Are you okay? Can you tell me your name?
Lucy.
Why are you in Bushwick?
I live here. There's like a whole army out there that's just killing people. Do you know what's going on?
They declared martial law. Not just here, everywhere. I need you to help me.
I can't do this.
5 seconds, okay?
Balloon was recently intercepted by government officials.
Texas.
So we're going to stop right there. Wait.
Seceded from the United States.
See, Texas seceded, and all these other states seem to have followed, other southern states. So civil war and division. That's what's coming. That is what's on the table here. Okay? That's what's about to happen. Just trying to find a suitable place to freeze it. Okay? Yeah, that will work. This is going to be blood in the streets and violence. So, let me get to my first video. I have a couple videos lined up. That I want to play. That's that one, that one. Did I want to use that one? Didn't mark that one. Well, we'll come back to that one. But we're going to start with this one. and then hers, and then this one. And then we're going to go back because each one of these ladies, and the water to my secret journalist, April O'Neil. I don't know where these videos be fire, man. I don't know where she's finding this stuff. But yeah, we're going to start with this first one. I guess this chick is a teacher. And through the spiritual, I believe this particular chick is Jake. The second one we know is Jake. She's Northern Kingdom. With all kind of attitude. Matter of fact, she might even be Judah. Just look like Northern Kingdom. But we're going to start with this video first. Okay?
Well, it's Saturday, baby. I want to talk about a few things for a minute if you want to sit down with me. And for the Red Hat crew, he's got you out here looking like a fucking fool. Yes, indeed. He's prepared another distraction for all of you. He don't want members of the Red Hat crew to wake up today and realize that their skin color is not going to make them safe, that they could still be blown away by his little frozen crew, those Gestapo dudes. He don't want you focused on the fact today that he's in those files. Oh no, he don't want you focused on the fact that he's made a huge mistake by going into Venezuela and it's going to cost the lives of American soldiers, dear. He don't want you to know that either. He don't want you focused on the fact that the Frozen crew thinks they can do whatever they want to, even when they're not in a uniform, boo. Say his name with me, Keith Porter Jr. Yes.
Keith Porter
One of
Jr.
those Frozen crew members took it upon himself to unalive an individual American citizen in the streets when he was off duty.
So that makes 6.
They're under the assumption that that orange
people
balloon
shot.
is going to give them complete and
4
total immunity,
unalived.
even though he doesn't have the powers to do that. Not anytime soon. He would have to go through Congress or SCOTUS, boo. But either way, they've been emboldened so much today that even when they're out of their uniform, they're out here in the streets, find their pew-pews on people like you and me. What happened in Minnesota was a problem for the Red regime. So many things have come to light today that he needs a distraction on his plate right away. Now, this particular distraction was going to go down either way. He's been building up to it because of his friend Dudu Netanyahu encouraging him to. But let's talk about the distraction.
I gotta borrow
because
that.
I believe you and the Red Hat crew don't exactly know what's going on because you never leave your goddamn trailer park neighborhood or home. Daddy Dumpy Pants came out to say that we're going to have to intervene in some kind of way, possibly with boom booms in Iran. He says he wants to protect the protesters there.
Listen
from
closely.
Their government using lethal force against them. Isn't that strange? Our government is out here in these streets using lethal force against peaceful protesters. Now, we're not going to get into their business over there, dear. Because if you really believe in America First policies, it's none of your goddamn business what those people are doing over there in them streets. But let's get something straight right now. Those people are far from peacefully protesting. I'm not for the regime that is currently in charge there. But let's be honest, dear. The people in the streets protesting that regime are killing officers too. Just like the officers are killing them back, boo. They're out there in the streets with flamethrowers burning the goddamn town
You
down.
see the dead officer on the
Ain't
ground
nothing
right here in this
peaceful over
movie.
there going down, honey. And the people in the Red Hat crew are so fucking dumb today that they can't understand that the peaceful protesters out in the streets of Iran, dear, well, they equate to the people in the blue over here. That's right. In comparison of the people out there in the streets in Iran today and the regime that is out there blowing them away, well, the regime you see is an alt-right, conservative, religious ideology regime. The people in the streets are for democracy and liberation and freedom.
You know, alphabet
Yeah,
stuff.
they would be radical left-leaning lunatics. So your daddy, in attempts to distract you from all the shit he's doing here, dear, is going to tell you that he wants to go protect radical left-leaning lunatics from their conservative alt-right government. How's that make you feel? How's that make you feel, Red Hat, that he's willing to take your taxpayer money and all of our soldiers to go defend radical left-leaning lunatics? That never fucking occurred to you, did it? It's because you don't know anything.
Yeah. Let's grab some scriptures, man. So you got a government that's taking away your right to speak, that doesn't want you women to be able to go and get abortions, that wants to push the alphabet lifestyles in schools and et cetera, et cetera. And he wants to destroy that here in America, but he wants to go defend it in Iran. Make it make sense. But let's go to Isaiah. This is Isaiah 13. And I'm going to start at verse 8. And it reads, "And they shall be afraid. Pains and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as the woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one to another. Their faces shall be as flames." So, once, a woman, once she's travailing and having those birth pains, they don't stop. They don't turn back. "Behold, the day of Yahweh cometh cruel, with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it." So, I've heard different commentaries try to say what the Hebrews break this down as. Look, the Bible is very plain. It says that the Lord is coming to lay waste and destroy. So all this old happy day shit, when you people have no idea. The Lord is coming to bring the pain, and he's coming to bring it to the sinners. The sinners are Israelites. You can't be a sinner unless you're under the covenant. The heathen nations are not under the covenant. What's making them get in trouble is that they put their hands on the Lord's elect, and those of them that picked up the book of our heritage and call themselves Christians. See, they made themselves liable when they picked this book up. So the Lord is coming to deal with them very painfully. "For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof," they constantly keeping those telescopes to the sky, talking about this, this comet and that comet and this star, what do they call them? UAPs and UFOs. Those are the chariots of Israel. Okay, I saw a video with a girl screaming, "I told you it was a second son." That's that's one of those giant ships that Yahushua is coming back on. All right. How in the scriptures it says he makes the clouds his chariots, those that float upon the wind. The amber in the sky, the glowing fire in the sky. That curse in Zechariah the 5th chapter. But it says, "For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. Sun shall be darkened, and his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine." So you have all these signs in the stars with it, with the moon and the sun being covered, the eclipse and all the red suns, the red moons, all these different things has been going on. Right, the blood moons is what I meant to say. Those, not a red sun. But it says, "And I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their iniquity." See? "And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud." We know who's proud. They even got a group of them call themselves the Proud Boys. "And will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even the golden wares of Ophir." That's one of those elect men that I talk about in the beginning. To the elect, the scattered, greetings, shalom, salutations to the elect. "Therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall move out of her place, and the wrath of Yahweh of hosts in the day of his fierce anger. The Lord is coming to bring the pain." All right, we're going to go to the next video now. This loudmouth Latina chick, but she said some real shit on this one.
The this is going to be my last attempt at trying to reason with anybody in the United States before I just cold leave this bitch, because at the end of the day, motherfuckers is just acting like everything is normal, okay? I need you guys to understand something, that the President of the United States, the Vice President, and Kristi Noem all went on national television knowing that video evidence is circulating the internet of what actually transpired, calling a blonde-haired, blue-eyed, middle-aged white woman sitting in a beat-up fucking Honda Pilot, smiling and waving ICE agents past a domestic terrorist, and they're doing this so they can justify a trigger-happy ICE agent shooting her in the fucking face. Shooting her in the fucking face. Her last words to that man were, "I'm not mad at you," while smiling. And then he proceeded to shoot her in the face 3 times and walk off calling her a fucking bitch. That happened, okay? That really fucking happened. And what is the reality, the objective reality of this situation? Oh, she tried to run him over. Oh, he jumped in front of the car. No, they have differing political stances, okay? She's a liberal activist and he's a conservative ICE agent. She agitated him and he shot her to death. That is what happened.
Exactly.
That is what happened. Okay? Period, point blank, end of story. Which means that they can shoot you in the face for getting on their nerves and have full impunity. The Vice President says not only does he stand behind what ICE agents did in that incident, but he intends on sending them door to door, ramping up operations in mass deportations with the intention of deporting 100 million people out of the United States. Do you guys understand that there's not even 100 million suspected illegal immigrants? They're going to go door to door to vet whoever they would like to get out of this country, and simply having differing political opinions makes you a fucking domestic terrorist that they can shoot in the face simply for disagreeing, simply with annoying them. And what happens when you do? Well, they help you relocate. We have video proof of the Department of Homeland Security helping that ICE agent and his family move out of their house days after the internet doxed him.
That pussy ass
With
Jonathan
full
Ross.
impunity, ICE is going to be knocking on American citizens' door and murdering them simply for getting on their nerves. That is the reality of the United States at present. And what is the reason behind this? Bella, what are you trying to reason here? This is what you guys have to understand. Okay, this situation is real. It is here. It is not going anywhere. And you.
So, we'll stop right there because it gets better. It gets worse. But we'll say that for the next video. Let's go right back to the scriptures. And I'm watching these different videos of these lawyers coming out and saying that even according to ICE records, they have no authority over American citizens. They don't have police powers over American citizens. The only thing they have powers to, if they see you committing a federal crime, that is the only way that they could, accost you. They don't even have jurisdiction over a regular American citizen. So he had no jurisdiction over that woman. And when they're snatching people off their porches and stuff, things like that, snatching up actual American citizens and putting them in detention centers and then letting them go later and that sort of thing. They don't even have those sort of powers. Okay? So, but anyway, maybe I'll do a lesson on that one too. They are overstepping. Back in Isaiah, the 13th chapter, it says, "And it shall be as a chase roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. They shall every man turn to his own people and flee unto his own land." So you got people, she just said she ready to leave America. And a lot of people are leaving America, but there's no running from the destiny. There's no running from judgment, what the Lord has set. All right. And if you are Edomite and you run to another land, the Lord's just preserving you to be the first fruits of slavery. And if you're a Jake trying to run from Babylon to another land, and you are of the 2/3, you're just going to go to the other land and die the death of a 2/3. There's no escaping. All right. Not once did she call on the name of Yahweh Shem Al Shai to save her and her children. She thinks she can do it on her own accord. All right. And she looks real cute with her makeup on, but I've seen it without makeup. You know, yeah. But anyway, it says, their children shall also be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses shall be spoiled and their wives ravished. They're going to kick in your door. They're going to have sex with your wife against her will, with your daughters, even your sons, even your dogs and animals. All right. It says, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver. And as for gold, they shall not delight in it. So the Medes, they get ready to, like you said, they get ready to go to war with the third war. All right. The Bible talks about how the first and second woe have passed and quickly the third one comes. All right. So the ancient Medes is over. That's Iran. The Persians and Medes, man. All right. People from that area, that Persian Mede, they get ready to go to Gomer, Magog, that whole area. The Russians, the Persians, the Arabs. Western Asia is about to go up. It's already on fire, but the whole region is going to go up. It says, in Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. That's talking about here in Babylon. Babylon is going to burn. And they've done scientific studies, found the cities of Gog and Magog. And it's like they said it was like nuclear fireballs that came from heaven. They were doing tests on the soil, and they were talking about how this certain element that burns when they check it, it burns blue. They said this one was so intense it burned purple. Okay, there was 5 cities in total that the Lord annihilated for alphabet lifestyle and all the other bestiality and all this child shit that's going on. That's another thing with ICE. You know, they're doing things to children and making themselves immune. All right. ICE Detention Center says it's not responsible for staff's abuse of detainees. Well, those detainees are children. Okay. Breaking. ICE Detention Center says it is not responsible for staff sexually abusing detainees, man. And it's just so getting shot, getting beat up, and they snatching up these women, and they throwing them in the back of these vehicles, and they having their way with them. They put them in these detention centers, and they having their way with them. Yeah. You wait till the lights go out, and there's no police. This is 2nd Ezra. We're gonna get ready to wrap it up. Then, you know, we're going to do a part 2 to this. Because those same 2 videos, these women really, they went in, man. As a matter of fact, before I read that scripture, I do have one more short video I want to play. Now that I'm thinking about it. That was a 3rd woman who said some interesting things. This one here. And she's talking about how and I don't know what's going on with this chick, but she had an interesting story about, and is equating what she's seeing what happened in ICE to something that happened when she was a teenager in her childhood. All right. So here we go.
ICE agents are being jumped in. Has anybody else noticed that? That's what this is. I mean, I grew up in Texas. I grew up in an area that was very, very poor. In a neighborhood that cops didn't drive through because they were scared. Where territory was different sides of the park. I grew up in an area, my first week of high school, there was a drive-by. And I remember going home and trying to talk to my parents, only for someone to be banging on our front door, and it was a dude begging for help because he was pulled off our porch and then beaten in my front yard with a tow chain.
Damn.
I had just started high school. So when I see these ICE agents, I recognize exactly what's happening with all of these actions they're taking when they confront average Americans. They're being jumped in. It's how they normalize the violence. It's how they encourage the aggression. I mean, we can all look at the video of Minneapolis. They boxed her vehicle in, and then he circled her. He pulled his sidearm, which is what made her start to actually try to flee. Because a man had already tried to haul her out of her vehicle, and every single woman knows, never let them take you to the second location. And every single woman knows, cops do it just as much as the criminals, if not more.
Oh, yeah.
They hurt us. They're violent with us. They violate us. That man publicly executed her and then said, fucking bitch. And every single woman who has ever been confronted by a man with violence has heard that tone. The seething rage of his disdain for you. So, when I see all of these videos from across the country, Minneapolis, Chicago, LA, Portland, even the ones coming out of the South, they're being jumped in. There just aren't enough of them yet for the goose step parades. It's a gang of secret police. Did you know that these ICE agents, the ratios of their criminal behavior to the ratios of any immigrant in this country having a criminal record, ICE agents, it's almost double. They are nothing but a gang. The Gestapo. Wonder when they're going to start putting the lightning bolts on their uniforms. The ICE agents...
Yeah, good question. Because the Azov battalion is already rocking their lightning bolts. They're letting you know what's up. And they're supported by the Israelis. Right, go figure. But yeah, but this is... Second Ezra 6 and 24. And it reads, and at that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies. Okay? Because in this movie right here, while people were being attacked, other people were attacking other people. You see? As this neighborhood was going up in flames and people were trying to survive the Gestapo, you know, and I'm talking about what's going on the screen here. People were attacking and raping and robbing one another. It's going to be lawlessness. 2 Ezra 6 and 24. And at that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein, and the springs of fountains shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. So there's going to be no water, no power, man. And there's no one coming to help you unless you are of the elect. Because the Bible promises that only the elect is going to live through what's about to come. Call halal Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai Bahasham Rakaha Quadash Kwam Yasharala Abba Babal. See you in lesson 2.